Hello and welcome back to the internet. I'm your host. This is the guy. I want to talk today about, truthfully, how I think that dogs talk when I'm not there. But what I want to talk about and what I think I should talk about are two very different things. As you know, I've been making stuff on the internet for a long time, and the name of the game, as far as being someone who wants to make movies or animations or whatever it is on the internet, is that you got to kind of keep pumping stuff out no matter what. There's a consistency game. You need to demonstrate a hunger. You got to be like, I'm there. I want to keep making stuff, and you got to keep making stuff, and that's good. The end. But I think what I started to get stressed out about was the output versus like how worth it the output was and what would come of the output. And I think when you're like starting to make stuff and it's all new and you're trying different stuff and you're experimenting and you're curious about, oh, what of mine are people responding to? What's people not like? What do I like? It's just a big time of exploration. I think it's good. It's always good, and I've said it before, but at the end of that experiment, if you find out it didn't work, it's just as valuable if you find out that it did work. But I think where I'm at now, having done that for a long time and having made so many projects that like truthfully just kind of ended up in like a lesson, or, you know, to be flat about it, they just kind of go nowhere. It's like I made it and I'm happy about it, but then, you know, not a lot of people watch it, or a good decent amount of people watch it but no one really wants to do anything more with it. It starts to be this question at the start of a project of like, what am I really starting here? Should I start it? Why do I want to start it? Am I gonna waste my time? And that's kind of the overarching thing that I've been fighting with right now, is like, how do you discern in the beginning what things are a waste of time and what things are worth it? You do need to start. I don't know why they're flying that plane. I told them. I sent that email. Did you not get my email? Now, I don't think that you should like entirely quantify whether or not something was worth it with whether or not it like was seen enough times, or whether or not people totally liked it, or it led to some other project. But I do think you like a little bit need to quantify whether something was worth it with those things. Because here's the plane. They didn't get my email. Because here's the thing. Did you not get my email? Because here's the thing. It is a little bit of like an icky, sticky part of all this, but it does unfortunately matter how many people see something or whether or not something comes of it. Because like ultimately, if you're doing this in a serious way and you want this to be your career, those are kind of important quantifiers. Let's say I wanted to make beds. Beds have a purpose, they have a function. People want to sleep in them and be comfortable. Not everybody likes the same bed though, if you've ever noticed. Some are squishy, some are hard, some are just a big lizard that you tied down. And so even though there is a subjective element to what kind of bed you like, ultimately if I'm the person making beds and everyone kind of says like, oh yeah, just like a few people kind of like that kind of bed, I could feel good about that, and I could be like, I like that kind of bed. I think that was a successful bed. If people aren't buying my beds, I'm not going to be doing this for very long. Art is like a weird thing. It's weird that it's something that is so inherently about what does the artist want to say, what does the artist want to put out into the world, and has to start from that spot, always. It's like the most important part. If you're not making stuff for you in like a big way, it's not going to matter if other people like it or not, because it's going to feel a little bit empty. People try to be clinical about stories or about music, and sometimes it works, but ultimately you can tell when those things don't really connect with people. And so I think the secret sauce, and it's easier said than done, is trying to find where does it overlap with what you really want to say and what you think is good and worth making with what other people will too. I think there's like a negative energy about when you talk about catering to an audience, or and I guess maybe that's even the negative way to say it, because I don't think it's catering. I think it's like you're making art. You want people to look at it and experience something and feel something from it. So like, it's not catering, it's reaching out. This is all to say that in my quest to make movies about magic books and secret sauces, I do now need to be a little sharper about like why I start what I start and what things are a worthy investment of my time. Because now I think what's really happening here is just that once my goals are shifting far more into, I hope it goes somewhere, I hope something more comes of this, and that's why it's like shifting away from, at the end of it, it'll be worth it to me just that I made it. Because that's becoming like less and less true, honestly. So I don't know, if you're out there, if you're anything like me and you feel like you've just been really chipping away creatively at 1,000 different projects and you've been doing it for a long time and you just keep feeling like, oh, this isn't going anywhere, I will say that I think what I would have wanted to hear was like, it's okay to like sit and kind of make nothing for a bit. And I think wait to have not only the emotional and personal proof that something is worth your time, but also you can wait for the proof that's very logical and like terrestrial. And again, in a perfect world, those things line up and you find something that kind of matches both of those things. Where you're like, oh, I could see why it would make sense to make something like that in a very like concrete way, and it also makes sense to me personally. It's exactly what I want to say. And I know those are rare ideas. I mean, I'm coming at the end of like 4 months or so of like truly not knowing what was worth my time. And I've just now, I think, found what is this video. If you have thoughts on this, do you want to like argue with me? I like truly want to hear these things, especially when like I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about like the philosophy of like why you make stuff and what is important. So let's just do that in the down there in those where to do it. Do you like me trying very hard to not say leave a comment or like and subscribe? That was what you just watched. But also please do all those things. I should probably get out of this person's backyard.
Whose footprints are these?